Molly Schwartzhoff and Michael Collins from Ray and Associates, and Business Administrator Kersley is with us as well. We'd like to take a few minutes and discuss the calendaring for the next couple of weeks as it pertains to the search.
So we'd be looking at the week of the 15th for those interviews. We are going to recommend one per day just because you are going to have stakeholder input, and we don't want to try to cram all three in one day. It's too much for you. It's too much for the candidates. What I would recommend is avoiding Mondays and Tuesdays because those are board meeting nights, as you're all aware. I would really recommend on the 17th, the 18th. And then, Mike, do you feel comfortable with either Friday the 19th or the 16th? Which would you? I'm almost thinking that we do the Tuesday.
Tuesday is, we have a board meeting on Tuesday, the 16th. Okay. So I would recommend that we don't have it on that day.
Then my recommendation would be for the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yeah, the only reason I would hesitate even on the 19th versus this 15th is if it's Friday, will that get in the way of community participation, or you think it'll be fine and not make any difference? That's
the difficulty there is I believe that's President's Day weekend.
Yeah, that's President's.
So that could potentially be a problem for.
Oh, it is, and it's President's Day. It's actually, you're absolutely right. Sorry, Melissa. If I'd read a calendar correctly, I'd be good. So I'm sorry about that.
So we may potentially need to go either on Monday the 15th or the 20 into the next week.
I would recommend then let's shoot for Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday then.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a little easier for the community if it's the evening or the late afternoon of, even if it's President's Day of the 15th.
So I guess I'm a little confused. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. I thought that the 15th was President's Day.
That's what I'm showing as well.
Oh, you may be right. I may just.
Okay, because am I looking at the wrong year?
No,
I am. Sorry,
okay.
Christy.
All right. So actually, the 15th. So
then maybe the 19th is fine. Let's just do the 15th, the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when is the meeting? Those are the interviews. When is the meeting for the voting? Is that during a board meeting, or is that, I don't know, when is that? Or is that separate?
Just as a thing, and sorry to interrupt, but as another consideration, the 19th is USBA Day on the Hill, and there's also a new president's and probably vice president's meeting that morning at 9:30 that Melissa and Nate should have been invited to or will be invited to, and then there's also JLC that afternoon. So those are sort of big, important things for us.
No.
So I would say Monday.
The 22nd or the 15th?
Monday, the 15th. I mean, Monday, just because I think we want to get them done as quickly as possible, right? So Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday are,
Oh, you mean the 15th, Catherine, you're saying?
15th, 16th. I mean, if we could do it during the day on the 16th, we could just have a long day and maybe a shorter meeting.
We could try to do that, Melissa, on Tuesday, do it during the day, and maybe, do a shorter meeting that night. Could we?
I'm fine with that. The board at the last meeting directed us to do a study session on the 16th. We've also, I'm happy to make it a shorter meeting. I just want to make sure I've got the support of the board, especially if that moves that study session back or in any way that way.
I don't think we can do it on the 15th because school will be closed.
It's
right?
President's Day,
Yeah. We wouldn't be able to do it on Monday, but if we said Tuesday, I would just like us to try what I would voice is trying to do it all in 1 week instead of moving that last one to the following Monday. Absolutely. So I would be open to any of those days except for Friday, because I'm glad Catherine said that. I had that all written down too, Catherine. So I think that Friday would be hard for us to step away from those other obligations. But
I would support the 16th, 17th, and 18th if I have support from board members to cut some of even the things that you've directed me to put on the agenda off so that we can have a quick meeting.
And we could still have a study session. I just don't think we should go too late that night. I just think we need to be able to finish up and be done earlier on. I'm not saying we don't have to have a study session at five-ish.
Melissa, with our agenda right now, if we, even if we turned most of the meeting into the study session, and then just whatever we absolutely had to do for business, with our consent agenda or whatever else, what other things do you have? And then let's push those forward to the next meeting if they're just reports. But if there's a discussion that we have to have that needs a motion, then what would those be? Do you and Nate, can you kind of give us what those bones look like right now?
We have the board policy, student board member thing we want, and the changes to that policy. And then the other, we have agenda setting on Monday. So let me pull up kind of what we were looking at. Hold on.
Couple things. I was trying to get the school budget allocations for that day. Schools are anxious to see what they are, but we usually like to present them to the board before the school sees them. And in the past, we've had a legislative update on this meeting, but that could be pushed back very easily.
Okay. We'll have an update of the COVID-19, the school update from the superintendent, which I think we can still have quickly.
And maybe what we could do, just as a suggestion, instead of it being a report, a verbal report, maybe we could just do a written report and attach it, to the meeting that night, or send it out as a memo. Think outside of our normal box, of things where we can inform the community versus just saying it in our meeting. I'm fine with having a shorter meeting. That would be my vote. And then just do that study session and then the few business pieces that we need to do. So you've got my vote on that one.
So you want to do the study session and a shorter meeting. Catherine, you want to do the study session and a shorter meeting. I want to hear from Nate, Mohammed, and
I just add into that really quickly that I do think we need to talk about, make sure that we verify that our employees have the opportunity, or clarify at least that our employees have the opportunity to take FMLA or not, and depending on how that is. There's also some more information about vaccine access. So I think that we need to hear those two things. I think those two things are really important for us to hear as a board, and if we need to, make decisions on.
Yeah, so for the vaccine, according to Larry's email, he did state that unfortunately right now the health department is focusing on only employees, okay? But I did send him a suggestion, if it is possible, to collect the signatures of those, people that work at schools, and with a letter from the district and submit it to the health department.
Thank you, Mohammed. That's actually kind of outside the scope of what we've noticed this meeting for. So maybe just address that, or to the superintendent. And he's not here, so I don't want to kind of get into anything that we should be hearing for. So, okay, we can keep some of those things on, and Nate and I will certainly share a draft with you, but I want to hear are you good with using, Mohammed, I want to hear, are you good with using the 16th Tuesday to do interviews and a board meeting? And I want to hear that from Joel and Nate as well.
I'm fine with that, as long as we have a very short meeting. That might be like a miracle comes through. I'm telling you, we're gonna love it, and we're gonna establish a habit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, thank you, Nate, and then Joel.
Yeah, for sure. I think my only hesitation might be, and it could be an advantage too, I guess, but it would, having an interview of one particular candidate, give a different spotlight to them, knowing that it's on an existing board meeting night that you might not get on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Okay, I'm good then.
I mean, you could see it as a disadvantage too, Nate, because we'll have to cut it off at a certain time, right? So, I mean, I think it can go either way.
If we're going to do it on a Tuesday and a board meeting, and we do have to do different times, I think we just have to make the same times on Wednesday and Thursday as well. I don't think we can cut one short. So they would be the same. Just we would have a longer day. Yeah. We would have a longer day, but the candidate would be the same. All right,
Yes.
Holly.
I'm good Tuesday during the day, I guess. Yeah, like within his, and what was recommended ideally was an hour and 15 minutes, right? Originally for the second or for
Yeah.
the final interview. So that
Yeah.
gives us kind of some time frame. But yeah, I'm good Tuesday to do that. And we can say short meeting per whatever board meeting, but I think there's good conversations that need to happen. So
Okay.
Can you, Melissa, let's just take Tuesday. What does that look like for an obligation from the board? Are we supposed to be at all of those community meetings? So
Yeah, that's a good question, Christy, and I'll let Molly and Mike answer that.
Okay, just so that we know what we're scheduling.
Yep, absolutely not. We all love you dearly, but stay away. We need to let the community have the comfortability to ask those questions and feel free to do so. The only thing we would need from you, Christy, is to be present for that hour and 15-minute interview with your fellow board members for the candidate.
And so we need to decide that time.
Yep. So we would what I would ask for you, and I know that we're kind of over our time limit for today as well. I would just ask that if we put together a schedule for, and I don't know if that's going to be Nate, Melissa, or if everybody wants to partake in that, but get us sample schedules of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the groups, have them lined up. And then we would get your candidate scheduled. But you would only have an hour and 15 minutes, usually at the end of the day after all your groups had met with them.
That helps. And so Melissa, for me, I'm thinking, for everyone who has jobs or other obligations during the day, that if we shoot for that 4:30 or 5 o'clock time, that we can notice, because we'll have to, obviously notice, but maybe, talking to Nate and Hoeli and to Mohammed with your work schedules, what's going to work best.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. Because if we had a 5 o'clock start on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that would be ideal for me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to kind of, patchwork, my hour and 15 minutes together on those days, which is doable. But if we want to maintain some consistency, that 5 o'clock would be optimal for me in my work schedule.
So the interviews occur at 5.
Well, I've got to make sure that works. Holly, I know you have a class on Thursdays that you teach.
Yeah, I teach my university course every Thursday at 6. And so if we did 5,
Well, you'd have to do
I could do like, 4:30 would be better. But if for Nate, I could start my class like half an hour late. I'm sure my students will be fine, but yeah, we cannot start at 6, the interviews. But if we started at 5 or even 4:30, that would be good. But then the other days, the other Tuesday and Wednesdays are fine.
Okay. So if you're okay with 5 o'clock, we could potentially do 4:45, Nate, on Thursday, but still give the same hour and 15 minutes. Okay. And then we'll put together a sample schedule and send it out to the board for feedback. If you'll just reply to us individually, then we'll put it together and you can see that, and I'll have Mike and Molly guide me in that.
And we'll start reaching out to candidates today just to get the travel, give them notice, and let them know that a schedule will be coming shortly.
Do we need to schedule also the time when we will
make the
final decision? Yeah.
Yeah. So typically what we would recommend is that we would meet with you after that final interview on Thursday. But I know that we've got a conflict with a class. So we could either do it later that night, depending on what time, if you guys want to. We could also do it Friday, if everybody's got a break, like a lunch hour, maybe. It's whatever you guys want to do as far as what works best. We do recommend doing it sooner rather than later for that final interview.
You could also do it, not to get in the way of your weekends. It's not uncommon at all to do Saturday or Saturday mornings. I'm just telling you. I'm only concerned, Molly, because of the school board things going on Friday.
Yep. Completely.
I think Friday would be really hard for us, but how late, what time will your class finish on Thursday?
I always finish at 8:30. So if you want to meet after 8:30.
That's an option. I mean, I would
late meetings just goes out the window. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Well, except I'd be fine with that. We could take a dinner break after the interview and then come back to discuss. I mean, then we have a long day the next day. So it really is meaning this week that week is going to be quite busy. but I think this is important work and
I would
so
rather, for me personally, I think meeting on Friday night or on Thursday night when everything's fresh and,
Mhm.
you know, we've had all of that. I would rather do that on Thursday night. So I would be fine with meeting at 8:30, you know, that evening. If everyone else, if it works for everybody else too.
See a lot of head nodding, so I think
Well,
that
I think that'll also give Mike and Molly some time to aggregate data if they need to from that day. And so I think that's nice. The only thing is that Hawaii will be on just nonstop from,
Well,
yeah. So
Yeah.
It's
if you're okay.
teaching. It's teaching. I love teaching. I'll be happy. I'll be physically tired just like any teacher, but I will not. I will be excited because we're making an important decision. So I'm fine.
He's fine. He has no kids. So,
Well, I think Hillel's always on.
forget about it.
So
Then what I'd just like to, before we close this meeting, I just want to mention the questions again. And I think if board members want to take an opportunity to meet together to discuss, that's fine. Just right now do it because we don't have anything noticed. Do it in smaller groups of 3. What I recommend is you taking the time yourself to look through all of those questions and think of questions that you feel like should be asked yourself and send your top 5 or so to Molly and let her put together a list. And she will then send it back out to us with what those questions are. And if you, hopefully you probably will see all your questions that you want to be a part of it. And then we can start moving from there with the timeline she gave us, which was end of business on Thursday.
End of business on Wednesday. I will get a draft to you
Yes.
Thursday. And then I would just ask that you before end of business on Friday, because I'll send you on Thursday a copy of what I'm showing as a final draft from everybody's suggestions and edits. And then I apologize, that's my peanut yelling down at everybody. And then by end of business Friday, let me know if it's good feedback or if you're like, hey, can you change something? We can certainly do it. But my goal is to have these nailed down so we all know what's being asked prior to Monday. That would be my goal.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nate, go ahead.
I was just wondering if we wanted to take just a couple more minutes to talk about the stakeholder interview process or feedback process, or do we want to, do we want to take that time now, or would
Well, I think we have kind of the outline that we've talked about already.
Cool.
And then if we put together a proposed timeline and send it out to board, I'm happy to take feedback at any point. We're just now 25 minutes past when we said we would talk. So how about are you okay, Nate, if we'll send out a proposal and then it's the board's decision. It's all that will be. I just want to take your feedback and we'll move forward from there. Just kind of have Mike and Molly really drive that process.
Yeah. I personally feel trust you, especially working with Larry, since there'll be that constituent group too, like the employees and stuff, for you doing the thought leading of everything, and then the board just being like, yeah.
Okay, we'll follow that. So that Christy, go ahead.
So I think that I do kind of want to say something about what Nate just said, is that get a consensus of what that community meeting looks like, that it really is a webinar, that we'll have a couple of people who represent those communities, and then whoever wants to come in onto the webinar and watch, they can do that. Is that what we're doing? And
that's how we took that from,
questions.
yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Christy. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, that's how we talked about it at the last, when we talked about, that's how we're moving forward, because I felt like that was what the board was supportive of.
So what I would just say, again, jumping off of what Nate said, is that there's a letter that comes from the board, that says this is what the format will be, because we're not going to have a meeting next week, just so that we inform our community and those employee groups and everybody else that this is what the format will be. These will be the people who will be representing. Yes, if you want to make a comment, that however Molly and Mike are going to set that up, you just make that really clear, and then that needs to go out to our community so that they know exactly what that format's going to look like starting next Tuesday, that following Tuesday.
Yep.
And I would just really encourage us to ask people for questions beforehand, but also have it available for people to ask questions during the session. So whether they have to submit those to you through the chat, or if they can ask them live, that'd be even better. But I just really want to make sure that they can ask questions. We've done it live before, in our last time, and it worked really well.
They'll have the opportunity to submit questions to us. We will be moderating, just so that there's not any questions that step on any gray areas or cross any lines. So we will be moderating. So Mike and I, everybody will be muted upon entry, and then they can chat directly to either Mike or myself.
And so then they ask those questions themselves. Can you unmute them and let them ask those questions?
We typically don't. We typically are the moderators so that it comes across and we can make sure of what's being asked. We've had too many issues where somebody crosses a line into HR territory that's not allowed.
Right. You could, of course, stop them right away
No. Wait, I've done 60 of these. And honestly, we've only had like 3 or 4 incidents. So Catherine, you're absolutely right. It's very rare. The good news is they can be inspirational. They can be extemporaneous by putting it up there. The other side is there will be a number that go there and they will all be asking the same. So when people feel that they're being heard, we will actually put some of those questions together as one, so that there'll be a number of people who are basically asking the same question feel like they get responded to. So it's just, this isn't like being live. It just isn't. I mean, I've been doing this since March. So unfortunately, there's a few more controls, but we don't want to take away that thought process from anybody, so they'll at least have an opportunity, and we'll be as studious and as transparent as possible. And we'll also, I think, actually get more people's questions answered, because some questions will be the same. And so they'll, in essence, get their question answered.
Great.
It's the best explanation I have.
Okay, great. And I understand that you've done this 60 times. I've only seen it done 3 times in our district. So you definitely have the weight on the balance. So that's fine. I hope I hope that we can ask for you to save the chats so we can see the chats in those meetings. They would be
public. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
And we'll also have, don't forget too, guys, we'll also have those candidate impression forms.
Yes.
Forms, so that you will get those. So at the end of each day, what I'm going to do is save them and put them in a zip file or whatever format works best for you, and then send it to you so that you can review that days of what people noticed that they liked, didn't like, strengths, weaknesses. So we will also have that in addition to. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And that makes sense that we've got time now on Thursday to review before we do the meeting with you. Okay, Alan, go ahead.
When will we announce the finalists?
That's a great question. We would just ask that you give us this weekend, maybe to read minutes, make sure they're good to go. And then Monday morning, I could get you short bios and headshots of those 3 so that you have those. And I would encourage you to put those out there. I would encourage you to make an announcement, whether on your website, Facebook, but make sure people feel like they're included and that they know who they're looking, who's coming in to meet them. I would absolutely encourage that. But give Mike and myself just the weekend to notify those that are moving forward, as well as those that are not. We don't want people to hear it first online. Nobody likes that feeling. And then I'll go ahead and get materials. And I don't know, Melissa, do you want me to send that directly to Alan, or who should I be sending the bios and the headshots to?
I would say Alan is a great person to send it to, and you can get it to Yandri.
Yeah, I'll work with Yandri.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So I'll have those to you by Monday morning, Alan, and then we should be in good shape from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, board members. Appreciate your time.
Yes. Take care.
5:01. We'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you.